Hi, Capricorn Sun and Rising. Welcome to your March 2025 Astro Update. It's Rena here. So, this is a pivotal month in 2025. I don't think that's hyperbole for me to say that. And the interesting thing for you is that there's a lot of emphasis in the sign of Aries. A lot. And for you, Aries is a cardinal sign and you're a cardinal sign. And so that means that it's going to affect one of the angular houses. And for you, this is situated in the fourth house of home and family. The fourth house, though, isn't just that, it's also real estate, it's also your past. And it could be your mother or your father that is playing a big role right now. And there is so much energy here. Now, another interesting aspect about this for the sign of Capricorn is that you rule the opposite house in astrology, the 10th house of career. So you naturally oppose this area. So there is this kind of like this tense angle in the sense that, yeah, I mean, even though Cancer and Capricorn are complementary signs, they do form an opposition, and there is that dichotomy, between a person's home life and their work life. And for Capricorns, a lot of Capricorns can be workaholics. And so, even though I would characterize Capricorns as family oriented, there still can be this I don't want to say like a love-hate relationship with the family, um, the domestic side of life, because that would probably be too much. But there might be this ambivalence because you're very ambitious, and your family obligations, be it the family that you've created as an adult, or maybe even your family of origin, your sense of duty, which is so well honed towards your parents, could be threatening that sometimes, threatening your career in certain ways. Some people I was just reading today, somebody said, well, I wanted to move abroad, but I had to take care of my family. Or somebody said, I brought my family with me to a foreign country so that I could live in this foreign country. But they really felt the sense of obligation towards their parents, and that's kind of how Capricorns roll. So this can, present sometimes a bit of challenge if you feel like you have to choose, or that you are being thwarted by domestic concerns or pressures, responsibilities. So, anyway, on the first of the month, Venus goes retrograde at 10 degrees of Aries in this fourth house of yours. And Venus can be, connected to money, and but it can also be connected to, so I mean, I suppose it's possible that if there's some kind of like devaluing of your property and for some reason, that could possibly be the case. Now remember that Venus is a personal planet, so it has a very quick transit. Even when it's retrograding, it's not going to linger for months on end um, in Aries. So don't worry about that. It's going to resolve itself fairly quickly. But it can be on the internal level where you're you're really looking at what you value. Now, I will say maybe this could have something to do with downsizing, because Venus is money, and with the fourth house, I mean, you might say, let's say you have a McMansion or just something very big, and maybe you have an empty nest, or just your values, or your Venus isn't really about like ethics, like that kind of values. It's just what is meaningful to you. And so maybe at one time you thought that was what you wanted. You thought that that would make you feel like you had arrived and that you were this respectable member of the community. And all of a sudden you realize, you know what? I don't even care what people think about me, because remember that Capricorn, as you know, especially Capricorn sun signs, you've gone through, but even the ascendant, you've gone through Pluto in your sign, and that has transformed you. So what may have meant a lot to you in the past, maybe you really don't care about that anymore, and you're okay with it being whatever it is. And so that you might decide to, like, I don't want to have to spend so much money, or maybe I don't want to have to spend so much time um, cleaning this place, or, you know, taking care of it. And that makes you rethink your living quarters, let's say. On the 3rd, Mercury goes here, and that really is about thoughts and putting a lot of energy mentally into this area of life. Mercury can be documents, so there may be something along those lines connected to a property. On the 14th, there's a lunar eclipse at almost 24 degrees in Virgo. This for you is your 9th house. And what's interesting is that the 9th house is is the God house. So it could be like a spiritual awakening or download, aha moment type of a deal for sure. It also could be a letting go of something, and it's not even really that you're willing it to happen, it's just letting it go. Let's say some Capricorn people have said, I really want to get a PhD. I really want to do this, like in academia, which is also the 9th house. And then you say, to hell with it. I don't really want this after all. I think it's bogus. I think it's indoctrination or whatever. You just see the light about something that is connected to university. Maybe even like as an undergraduate, you just like, I don't want to do this. And, you know, Capricorn people tend to go by the book. Like, you know, I think a Capricorn person is more likely to go to college than not go to college. But I know a Capricorn person who went to college, went to graduate school, and now is living in a monastery in Southeast Asia with a shaved head and doesn't, you know, collect a salary. So, you know, Capricorns are not a monolith. You know, you're all going to be different in some ways. Some of you, maybe with those Aquarian tendencies, might be kind of out of the box in a lot of ways. So, yeah, so this can be something along those lines where you're just like, you're letting go of something that you thought that you wanted that had to do with university. And if you work at one, that could also be the case. But it could be like on the like philosophical level, the spiritual level, that this, because remember, lunar eclipses are powerful full moons, so it still has that full moon energy, which is very heightened psychically. On the 15th, the very next day, we have a Mercury retrograde at 9 degrees of Aries, so that's in the 4th house. So if you signed any documents related maybe to like a house, you know, house or something like that, there may be something that has to be re-looked at. Who knows? On the 20th, but you might be rethinking something about where you live or the house that you live in. You could be rethinking that. On the 20th, we have the astrological new year, which is when the sun goes into Aries. And again, more fourth house activity. Of course, because of the personal retrogrades also in Aries, this may not feel like you're moving forward. You might actually feel this way in April when both of those personal planets goes direct. On the 27th, Venus retros back into Pisces. And on the 29th, Mercury retros back into Pisces. So we're talking for Capricorn individuals, your third house now. So one thing that these two houses, the third and the fourth, have in common with one another are that they are family members. The third house can be, I would say, specifically brothers and sisters, but also aunts, uncles, cousins. And it can also be your local area. It can be your neighbors. So if the fourth house is your home itself and the third house is the local area and the neighbors, that can be something where you're looking at again. Because sometimes you might live someplace and you really liked it when you moved in and it changed. It's not the same neighborhood as it was when you first moved in. I know that happened to me. And, sometimes people don't want to just like immediately move, but because you're attached to it and you like where your home is, but then you have to really think about that. Like, who are my neighbors? Do I like my neighbors? Are they the same kind of neighbors that I had when I first started? Or has everything gone kind of downhill? What is important to me? Which Venus represents. What do I hold dear? And so there could be like family issues, of course. With this, maybe misunderstandings sometimes with Mercury retrograde. So you may be having communication breakdowns with your parents, with your siblings. But again, these are fast-moving planets and it's very temporary. On the same day as the Mercury retrograde, on the 29th, we have a solar eclipse at 9 degrees of Aries, a powerful new moon in that house of home and family. So that indicates more seeds being planted in the domestic side of life. Again, maybe April will yield those results more widely and visibly for you. But then, this is wild. On the 30th, the very next day after that, Neptune goes into Aries for the first time in like 200 years or 100 something years. I mean, that is phenomenal. And it's in this area of home and family. One of the things that Neptune can do is make you want to live by water. So that could be something that you achieve. If that's something that you have been wanting, that might happen. It won't be in Aries that long, so I'm not going to go too deeply into Neptune in the fourth house, but it could be your ideal home. Definitely visualize, especially since you have this solar eclipse, to plant those seeds of intention on a grand scale. Think about like what would be your dream home. There's a technique in manifestation called scripting, where you actually write down and you say it like it's happening. I'm walking into my house. this is what I first see when I come in, and you describe it in detail, but you also describe the feelings you're having as you experience all these things. And that's like a way to kind of call in your manifestation. So, yeah, and Neptune is like about the spiritual side of life. So, definitely that law of attraction thing might be uh, really possible with this transit. So, in any way, in any case, I'm going to leave it there, Capricorn. I hope that this resonated. Of course, it hasn't happened yet, so I guess you're going to have to find out after the fact. But anyway, if you would like a private reading, I'm promoting my double readings. I do have a couple of these, but one of them that is popular is it's called my deep dive reading, which is a package deal. I offer these readings separately. An hour of natal chart analysis plus an hour of transits for the upcoming 12 months for a special price. And if you like the tarot, I have that plus a full-length tarot reading called the whole enchilada. And I have, like love readings, career readings. You can find out more information at the link below. Thanks for listening. Have a great month. Bye.